Welcome to Gig Masters, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mooney Man, and I'm your host. Today's episode is about the gig interview. You may cold call, in other words, you may go door to door looking for gigs, and you may get a phone call one day from someone asking information on how to book you. Now, this episode is going to go over what you should expect to bring to that interview. If you are cold calling, in other words, if you're hitting the bricks and you're out there walking in, asking for the manager or the owner of a venue and inquiring, you should pretty much have the same expectations of what to bring with you as if you were called in for the interview. So I'm going to do a split screen. I may do a picture-in-picture, but we're going to go over some documents. First, I'd like to talk to you about what you can expect from the venue. A lot of times, you go to a venue and you make an agreement on the gig with just a handshake, and that's cool. 90% of what I do with respect to public gigs, in other words, like restaurants or bars, that sort of thing, is done on a handshake or just, a word. Other times, when it's a more upscale or when there's more money involved, you may want to do a contract. Anyway, let me first start by telling you what you may expect from a venue with respect to their documentation. You may expect them sometimes to provide you with a non-compete agreement. This is fairly common. Some restaurants and other venues will try to get an exclusive with you. In other words, they don't want their entertainment working right next door to them at their competitors. So they'll do what's called a non-compete agreement. And I'm going to put one up here. You can take a screenshot of it. This basically entails that you can't go play down the block at the venue's competitor's place. And on a side note, that's not generally a good thing to do anyway with respect to your own branding. And we'll go into that in a future video. But the number two thing you should expect to receive sometimes from a venue is a hold harmless agreement. In other words, the more upscale venues tend to want some indemnification or some assurance that if an accident were to occur, that they're held harmless. They're not liable. And I'll put one up. You can take a screenshot. It's a basic one. Now, I am not your attorney, and I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just giving you examples of what to expect. And that is a legal document that I'll put up that I've seen from time to time. The other thing that you might expect to receive from the venue is a code of conduct list. That's very common with higher end hotels, cruise ships, country clubs, golf and country clubs, private venues. They'll want to have you sign off on and possibly your band members. They're going to want you to sign off on an agreement that says that, well, there's no smoking on the premises. There's no drug taking or alcoholic consumption on the premise during the time you're there. And this is just another level of security for them with respect to the liabilities that they're going to be exposed to with having you on their property. Now, let's talk about some things that you may want to bring along with you to an interview. Firstly, I always like to bring a contract. I always try to get a contract, even though sometimes some of the little bars and the smaller public venues like are what I call onesies, like when you go do a one-time gig somewhere, they may not want to do contracts. It's just, shake hands and show up and do the gig. But if a venue is trying to book you for a season, multiple gigs, like in my case, there have been times when I play 7 days a week at a venue, and you're going to want to have some sort of a agreement to protect yourself and the venue. And we may go into that in a future video with respect to focusing just on contracts. But for this episode, we're going to talk about briefly what you may want to bring with you. I'm not going to go into depth into what's on a contract, but I'm going to put one over here so you can take a screenshot. It's a sample. Number 2, you might want to bring your calendar. So if they throw out a date at you, you're prepared to give them the answer right there. You're going to want to know your own availability so you can book that gig. By the way, this leads me to the ABCs of sales. ABC, always be closing. Make sure you have all of your weapons, if you will, at your disposal to close the deal. Get that deal done. Get that gig. Number 3, you may be asked to provide insurance documents. I'm going to put one up here. You take a look at it. It's a sample. There's a couple of things. Some years I have done a insurance policy that covers me, a blanket insurance policy that covers me for an entire year. And then sometimes I will do an insurance policy that just covers one gig. And there are plenty of insurance companies that will do either. If you go to a local insurance company, you're going to pay a premium. It's going to be expensive. But if you go online, and there's a multitude of good ones online that I've used, they're going to be a lot less money. It's quicker. It streamlines the process. I like them. One of the things that I'll go into with respect to insurance, and I won't go much further into it, I may make another episode about just insurance, but one of the things that a venue may ask is that you additionally insure them. Well, that's great. Make sure that you build in the rate, because that's going to cost you money. A lot of insurance will charge you a $20 fee or so to additionally insure the venue if the venue isn't already on your insurance. So you have a blanket insurance policy for a year. Well, you didn't know that these guys were going to call, so you have to call your insurance company. That's your time. Then somebody on the other line has to put in the time, the labor to put that document together. So make sure that you make the venue aware that if they want to be additionally insured, there's going to be an upcharge, because otherwise you're just, I don't know, maybe you want to do it for free. I don't. I always charge the venue. Now, make sure you bring a press kit. In other words, let's say the venue has no idea who you are. Even though sometimes they've called you in and they don't know who you are. They just heard from word of mouth. Make sure you have a press kit to show that you have experience and that you've played at other places similar to theirs. I usually don't bring my entire press kit in. I'll bring in a partial press kit, maybe a newspaper clipping, news article, maybe a magazine or a brochure, like I'm showing in the video next door here. It doesn't have to be the entire history of your career, because hopefully you'll have a lot of that content on a website that you can direct them to. Another thing that you probably should think about bringing with you to an interview for a gig is your business cards. Make sure that your business cards have your contact information on it. These days, a website, come on, do I have to go into that? Really? All right, let's move on. bring a notepad and a pen. I'm old school. Now, not only am I a working musician, but I'm also the music director at several venues, and I hire the entertainment at these venues. And one of the things that I like to see is a notepad and a pencil or pen and note-taking. I love to see that. Now, one of the things that you also may want to bring with you is your instrument, your equipment. You may have to do an impromptu audition. I haven't had to do an audition in 20 years, but if you're just starting out, you may have to do one. And I recommend being prepared. At the very least, bring your instrument and be prepared to do like an unplugged version of what you do. Just give them a snippet though, because there's an old saying. If you do a free gig, they're going to expect you to do free gigs. I don't do free gigs. Moving on. Breath mints. Bring a box of breath mints. Bring your song list. Or make sure that they know that your song list is on your website. Now, with respect to bringing a CD, yeah, okay, bring a CD for them to listen to. That's great. I will tell you this, as a musician, years ago, I would bring a little CD in. Actually, mine was a DVD. And out of, I don't know, maybe 100 times, I think the venue listened to it one time. And now, as a venue musical director, I can tell you, as far as CDs go, I have never listened to one CD. When a potential act brings the CD in, I generally throw it in the garbage because I want them to focus on being a live music entertainer at my venue. I don't want to hear a studio version because that studio version is polished, produced, there's all kinds of effects. I could go on about the production of CDs, but generally the CD does not reflect the live music performance. So I hate to tell you guys, especially you guys who have come in for an interview where I'm the guy doing the hiring, I've never listened to a CD. I don't really care. I want to see a clip of your live performance, and I will see it on my time. I will look at it on your website or on your Facebook channel or on your electronic press kit, wherever that might be, if you give me a link to it on your business card. But as far as finding a device that has a CD player in it anymore, or a DVD player, I mean, I guess, yeah, but they're becoming less and less convenient. So I can Google up your media on my phone. I know the audio's not fine, but I want to see several things on your live performance video. If I do choose to do that, I want to see crowd participation mostly. I want to see some level of talent on your behalf. And I want to hear something that works for me at my venue, something that's relevant. I want to hear a song or some material that's relevant to the venue that I'm hiring you for. Now, with that being said, guys, I am so happy that you are watching. If you're returning, please comment below if you found these tips helpful. Smash up the likes. Hit the subscribe button, please. I need to grow this channel, and with your help, I can do that. Once again, my name is Mooney Man. You're watching Gig Masters, how to get and keep more gigs.